when you're thinking about building relationships and you go to a networking event, you're not there to play business card poker where you just pass out your business card to every person you see, right? It's more about listening to others, listening to what they're talking about, what their needs are, asking questions, and then really understanding how you might be able to fulfill a need that they have, or maybe it's somebody that you know that could service whatever it is that they need, and then becoming that connector, being that person that can be a resource or, called upon when they need somebody or need a recommendation. I say the 5 R's: recommendation, referral, ranking and ratings, and then rewards with the thumbs up, giving them a reward.
Hey guys, this episode is sponsored by Tranquil Turtle Massage. Tracy over there, the founder, she's a small town girl from Montana, loves God, loves her family, loves her friends, loves working out, fishing, and camping. She has a passion for helping those in need and enjoys being creative with woodworking, crocheting, healthy baking, pottery, and cooking. Look, she began her massage journey back in 2010 where she graduated from massage school up in Anchorage, Alaska. She specializes in her signature massages, the Hanu infusion and the Hanu ashiatsu, as well as the gua sha and manual lymphatic drainage. If you're looking for a massage specialist and someone who can get you feeling good, go see Tracy down at Tranquil Turtle Massage. And while you're there, check out CDA Microblading, offering Coeur d'Alene's best tattoo brows, plasma fibroblast, tightening, and PMU services right there in the heart of downtown Coeur d'Alene. Make sure you book your appointment at pnwmobilemassage.com. Ray, you're a wife, mom, you're the founder and CEO of Peppershock Media, you're a keynote speaker, you're the host of the Marketing Expedition podcast, a fellow Idahoan, and much more. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Erik.
I love that, it's funny that you and I, we both live in Idaho, we both have the same last name, and we're not related that I know of. Maybe somewhere down the line there, probably. But I love to go back with my guests. Like, where did you grow up? What was childhood like for you?
Well, my parents went to University of Idaho. Go Vandals. Well, I say that until I went to my undergrad at Boise State, but
of course.
I did. I grew up rural, small town, Middleton, Caldwell area, and then from there moved to Nampa, then moved to Seattle for a little while, and then boomeranged back to the big city and brought back home all the big city experience and started a business and got married and, well, not quite that order. Got married, then started the business 3 months later.
Okay. That's awesome. When I was a kid, I had heard of like Tony Robbins and listened to him a little bit, as a kid back on cassette tapes for those listening that don't know what those are. Right. But, my life probably would have been different had I actually taken action with what he was telling me back then. But for you, like, who was that person that inspired you as a kid or kind of led you to this entrepreneurship marketing thing?
Oh my gosh. So both sets of grandparents were entrepreneurs. My grandparents are farmers on the one side. And then my paternal grandparents owned a motel in Baker City, Oregon. So I have done everything from top corn to hoe beets to clean toilets to, maid service, all of the above. I always knew that I wanted to be my own boss because I didn't really make a great employee because I always said everything that I wanted to do differently and told them about it.
Yep, totally. I understand that.
So yeah, I worked in news and I was a newscast director. And when I went to Seattle and directed news there, the main newscast director had been there for years and years and still had, 20 years to go. And so I was always going to be second string. And so I got to work New Year's, Easter, all the holidays, everything, because I was second string director. And there was a stint where I worked 52 days straight and decided at that moment I wasn't going to do it anymore. And that I would much rather start my own business and work all of those holidays if I had to or wanted to and had the choice to, right? And so that's kind of what sort of fueled that. And plus my undergrad was in mass communications and business management. And then my master's is marketing and entrepreneurship. So I've had the bug.
Awesome. I understand that string of long work. When I lived out in Seattle, I worked 2 jobs. I was working at FYE there at the mall at South Center Mall when it was before it got too crazy. And I was working at the Bond. So I was like basically going from one store to the next. And I had worked 61 days straight.
Oh, it's crazy.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And I went and I never hiked it before, but I looked it up and I found Mount Si and I was like, I'm climbing Mount Si. So I got to the top of Mount Si there in North Bend. hiked by myself, and it was funny. I got up there, it was like squirrels and birds were eating out of my hands. I felt like Ace Ventura, like pet detective up there. And
Right.
but I had to get away from people. I was like, dude, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, being your own boss, you may have to work those different holidays, but it's
Sure.
because you choose to. I mean, I don't if I don't have to, but
Yeah.
yeah, 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 definitely understand. And now I've been doing Peppershock for 18 years now. So now I can kind of set my own schedule, which is nice.
Yeah. I mean, and I was going to ask you like about Peppershock. For those who don't know, you started this way back 2003 with your
Yeah.
husband. He's the co-founder there. What does Peppershock do? What's the mission of Peppershock?
We are a marketing and advertising agency. So we're full service, but I like to say that we are an extension of marketing departments for people who have maybe one or two people in their marketing department, or maybe it's their own, and they need a marketing department. So we're kind of an outsourced marketing department, if you will. So there's 9 or 10 of us who do the marketing planning and strategy, and then we also implement what we come up with. So
Okay.
it's the video production, graphic design, web design, content writing, basically what every company needs to help them build their brand and their bottom line.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And you also have this awesome thing called the Marketing Expedition Community, which I saw, which is awesome.
Yeah.
What's the thing about?
So when the pandemic hit, we'd already decided to make this community-driven website, a membership site. But then when the pandemic hit, we really saw the huge need because not everybody can always afford an agency. Maybe they're the DIYers who just need some expertise and guidance along the way. And
Yeah.
or there's there's 3 levels: DIYers, done with you, and done for you.
Mm.
And so if you can have an agency, we do it with you, or it's done for you, right? Your marketing is done for you. Well, the DIYers, they have to get the ideas and understand how it all works. And so the marketing expedition community is really a place for people to get ideas and inspiration and training and just a knowledge base to really help them in their marketing journey.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And I mean, and I'm big on relationship building. And I saw a post on your website you talk about relationship building versus networking. And
Right.
it's so good. And on there you listed 10 tips of do's and don'ts, but maybe you can just maybe go into 1 or 2 of those. And I think this will totally help a ton of people that are listening right now.
Absolutely. So one of my favorite, I guess, when you're thinking about building relationships and you go to a networking event, you're not there to play business card poker where you
Yeah.
just pass out your business card to every person you see,
I love
right?
it.
It's more about listening to others, listening to what they're talking about, what their needs are, asking questions, and then really understanding how you might be able to fulfill a need that they have, or maybe it's somebody that that could service whatever it is that they need, and then becoming that connector, being that person that can be a resource, or called upon when they need somebody or need a recommendation. I say the 5 R's: recommendation, referral, ranking and ratings, and then rewards with the thumbs up, giving them a
Nice.
reward. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's so good. And with marketing, you being in marketing and social media, everything is changing constantly. What are people and businesses not doing today that they should be doing?
It's really a good understanding of how your marketing mix needs to be and who you're reaching and how you're reaching the specific target audience that you want to reach.
Mm.
Who are the people that you want to come through your either brick and mortar or now click and mortar doors, right? If
Yeah.
it's online, and doubling down on digital. If you're not already doing business online, then you're really missing out on a big opportunity because everyone's got screens in front of them. And sometimes it's like 3 or 4 screens, right? They're on their phones, they're on their iPads, they're on, connected TV, they're on, all of the different resources, and sometimes even all at the same time.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. So fun. And I mean, you work with your husband. He's the co-founder, which of Peppershock, which is awesome. A lot of times couples, they kind of have this weird tension in the office. Like, how do you guys balance that family life, I guess
Right.
balance, like when you're working together, like when do you cut off business and then it's family time, or is it just a big blend of everything?
I know people say, well, it's work-life balance. I'm like, yeah, whatever. That's a bunch of baloney, but
Totally.
you can't do that. It's like, I think that the balance really is being able to have each other as a partner, because we also
Yeah.
have 2 teenage boys
Okay.
together. And, when the boys were younger, it's like, I was the face of the company. I would be the one networking and building those relationships. And he was the one behind the scenes making me look good. And so we really did have that kind of yin and yang balance between, okay, you're going to take the boys to the doctor appointment. I'm going to, go pick up dinner, whatever the case might be. And we really still to this day, we're really much in alignment with who can do what. And it's not, the traditional role of, oh, the female should be the one to cook dinner, right? It's not like that at all. It's just who can have the freedom and the time and availability to do what needs to get done, no matter what it is. And so we do balance each other out quite a bit of ways, from home life to work life too. I mean, he's much more technical and, kind of got that, in a DISC assessment, I'm the ID and he's the SC, if you were to spell out DISC, right?
Yep.
Dominant, influencing, supportive, and compliant. And he very much is the supportive compliance, and I'm the influencer and maybe the dominance.
Okay.
So
Sure.
it works out well when we can have that partnership between the different areas that you need to focus on. And it does balance me out. And allows me to be creative and visionary, where he can then take those ideas and support and then implement what needs to get implemented, and then, dump what doesn't need to be implemented, because I can come up with all kinds of ideas every day.
Yeah.
And I know, so for those of you who are listening, my staff got me this doll. It's called the Let It Go doll, the Elsa doll.
Okay.
So that I could delegate to elevate. And so, so that's the whole idea, is to let it go, let other people do things for you that will allow you the freedom to do what you do best.
My gosh, I think I struggle with that a ton. I might need one of those Let It
Do
Go
you need
dolls.
an Elsa doll too? I can throw it at you, right?
That's awesome.
Just let it go.
So funny. I mean, and then like I mentioned, you're the host of the Marketing Expedition podcast. I've been blessed to be a guest on your show. It's such an awesome show. But how has having a podcast enhanced your business?
Absolutely. I mean, I get to meet great people like you, right? I mean, we've got the same last name, even though we're not related. Maybe we don't know. And I'm married into my last name, Allen. But I think having the podcast, a couple things really. I've been doing this for about 7-8 years of podcasting, just kind of intermittently whenever I wanted to. And then when the pandemic hit, we started to see our numbers spike. More people were listening. And I always thought, oh, well, people aren't commuting anymore, except they're just kind of, commuting from their couch to their kitchen as opposed to like going to work. So I didn't realize how much more podcasts were becoming a bigger and more listened to thing. So we started doing it every week, and it's gotten a lot of good traction, a lot of opportunities for me to speak to people like you and other authors and speakers and industry professionals. I have learned just as much as my audience gets to learn from me. I have learned so much from my guests, and just the different tactics and tools and things that people take in their marketing journeys, and just giving that idea of how you could incorporate some of the things that we talk about on the show has helped us in the business. But then also from our listeners, they, reach out to us and say, oh, I heard this podcast with you on, and And it always, I love the feedback. I love the interaction that we get when people listen to something that really has been very valuable to them. And in turn, it helps us, with branding and getting our name out there, and putting, opportunities out there as well. And now we're monetizing it, and people are actually, paying and sponsoring the show, which I never really thought would happen. But it's like, hey, cool, I'm getting paid to do this now, and I just love it.
Oh, it's so much fun. Yeah, I think I started podcasting selfishly just so I could talk to cool people. And then I was like, oh, I should probably share this stuff out with the world, right? And it's been such an awesome journey, and I started in 2017 with my first podcast, and, now we just focus on the business side of stuff, but it's so much fun to just connect with amazing people. And I think if you're a business out there, if you don't have a podcast out, you're totally missing out on a niche of people that need to be hearing your show and your story.
Absolutely.
So good. What's on the market or what's on the docket, I guess, for 2022 for you?
Well, I am expanding my speaking career. I get to go, all expenses paid, everything. I'm going to Iceland to the Creativity Conference in August of 2022. I know.
Awesome.
I'm so excited. It's sponsored by Adobe and Dell and NVIDIA and some pretty major sponsors. So I'm really just grateful to get to be a part of it and to get a whole trip to Iceland. I've never been there, and I can't
Yeah.
wait to go and spend some time in Reykjavik and share my expertise with the world that wants to hear it. It's going to be both in person and hybrid, so they'll record it all, and then people can watch the sessions later. But I actually get to speak on 5 different sessions that we're doing, so I'm really
Okay.
excited. Yeah, so that's one big thing, is just expanding that my ability to be on a stage. I'm a content expert speaker. Although I am doing what's called a EO Talks. It's kind of like TED Talks,
Okay.
but for the Entrepreneurs Organization. And it's happening it's not necessarily supposed to be about my business. It's about transformation. So I
Mm.
am kind of now starting to dabble into the whole different area of not being the content expert speaker,
Yeah. Okay.
but actually telling my story, which will be a interesting journey for myself to go on.
You learn so much, I think, for when you start to tell your story.
Yeah,
I'm 42. I didn't share my story till I was 39, and I
yeah,
think the more that I've been able to share that and make an impact with people, the more that I've learned. Like, oh my gosh, like that was kind of messed up, man, when I was a kid. Like, and I never really acknowledged that, before. But now I can look at it and go, well, okay, hopefully someone else can get impacted by this and hopefully make a change in their life. But it's so good
yeah,
when you start to just release what your story's about. Um,
yeah.
I love to
Well,
finish my show with some fun questions here. I've got two
sure.
two questions I want to ask. I'm a big music guy, so I love to ask the question like, who's a favorite band for you, or what type of music do you listen to?
Oh my gosh. Well, I like to listen to, I've seen Gwen Stefani in concert a few times
Come on,
at the
yeah,
Paramount in Seattle and in Boise, and just a few times. So I'm a fan of her, and no doubt. And I listen to a lot of different music. My oldest son's into country, my youngest son's not. And so you get like quite the range, and classic oldies to rock and roll to all of the above, and like Tool and Papa Roach, to you name it. I've probably listened to it, and
yeah,
if I can remember lyrics, I only get like a few lyrics down, and then I'll sing those, and then it gets stuck in my head. So
yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Last question for you: since you and your husband work together, who wins at Monopoly, you or him?
Oh my gosh. That's a good question. You know, I'd say probably me. Although it depends on, yeah, I mean, it depends. Well, yeah, because yeah, I like to take risks more than he does. So I'm buying the big property,
Nice.
but then
Okay.
sometimes he'll buy anyway. But it depends on, if you were to ask me who wins at Scrabble, he definitely wins at
Okay.
Scrabble and like Wordle and all those, word games.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Ray, it's such an honor to have you on my show. I love what you got going on. I'm stoked for your trip out to Iceland and super jealous
Oh.
about that. But I think it's so cool that you get to go on that trip. And man, everything you got going on with Peppershock and your podcast, I'm excited for you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Erik. I love to be able to be on other people's shows just as much. So thank you so much for this
Hey, thank you
opportunity.
so much for checking out the show today. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to take a listen or a watch. It's truly an honor to be able to speak with such amazing guests, and I hope that they've made an impact on your life in some way, shape, or form. And you could do me one big favor that would be huge. Click that subscribe button, and then second favor, hit that share button. Thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate you. Keep changing the world. I believe in you.